Have you ever had negative thoughts in your mind that you aren't good enough, that you'll never be successful? If so, you're not alone. I've had those thoughts playing in my mind ever since I took the leap to become an entrepreneur. It's a dirty, dark secret that no one likes to talk about, as the glamorization of becoming an entrepreneur is shown in the media. I realized that in order to succeed, I needed help. We all do. So I decided to go all in on myself, spending thousands of hours in the trenches, reading, joining groups, listening to podcasts, hiring coaches to develop a bulletproof morning routine for success. Join me on my journey as together we build our morning fire to ignite our lives as entrepreneurs. My name is Jeff Wickersham, and this is the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. Welcome to the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. I've got special guest Rick Ornelas on the podcast today. Rick is a positive change expert, author, and founder of iSpark Change. Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
So I love getting into state, right? Let's change that energy of what we're going to accomplish today. So what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to do three breaths in real quick. So let's go ahead and breathe in. And out. Good. Another breath in. And out. Final breath in. And out. Awesome. Now I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. We're going to yell boom and hit our chest at the top of our lungs. All right. And 3, 2, 1, and boom. Nice. Thank you, Rick, for playing along, and nothing can be done without energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. So, Rick, I eat, sleep, and breathe morning habits, rituals, and routines. What are a couple things that you do to start off your day that really guide you down that path towards success?
You are speaking my language, Jeff, because I am all about the routines and the habits, and creating routines to make your life easier. The big thing for me, as long as I can remember, has been working out first thing in the morning. But aside from that, because that's just such a regular part of my life, I don't even think it's a habit anymore. It's just a part of my life, but like yours. But the big thing that I really enjoy is I like to start my day off with gratitude, and doing it in a couple different ways. So I'm a spiritual person. I start out by reading some scripture, and then being thankful to God and making sure I'm on the right path by being guided by that scripture, and thankful to Him first and foremost, because that's very important to me. And then after that, I express gratitude for something in my life, and it can be whatever comes to mind in that morning. This morning, I put that I was just thankful for having waking up feeling refreshed, because yesterday I woke up tired, but today I felt great. I got less sleep, but I felt great. So that's what I put down as being grateful for the morning, and I bookend my days that way. Do the same thing before I go to bed, and that seems to set the tone for the day and really put me in a good place to finish the day.
Awesome. And are you journaling it? Are you writing it down somewhere? Or are you just saying it out loud? What's that process look like?
So I journal it. I am a big electronic journaler, so I like to do it. I've tried the writing. I have a journal here. I do write in that in the morning as well. But for that immediate, I stay off my phone for 2 hours. Other than I open the Bible app, and I open up OneJournal is the app that I use, and I open up the OneJournal app, and those are the two apps I'll open first thing in the morning. And then also have a book of scripture. But other than that, phone's off limits, but at least for the first couple hours for me in the morning. But I do use those apps just because they're easy.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer as well in not checking your phone when you first wake up, because it can definitely take you down that rabbit hole. And if anything negative comes across, right, it just kind of spirals you out of control to start your day. So firm believer in that. So I'm right in line with it. So spreading positivity and change, right? Now more than ever, that is so needed. But I know your journey has had some bumps in the road for sure. Can you share with the audience a little bit about your journey, specifically last year, kind of what you went through, and now your mission?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking, Jeff, because you're right on track that it is needed. Positive change is needed in the world now more than ever, with all the challenges that we've been going through for the past year or so. And my journey was no different. You go back almost a year to last March, when the world is heading into quarantine and shutdown, and things are slowing down, and when we're becoming isolated, and the anxiety is high and the fear is high. And I felt myself going into that place of fear and anxiety. And that's not me. That's not a place that I normally go to. And it doesn't really sit well with me. And so it was a very uncomfortable place for me. And I said, well, what am I going to do about this? And I wrote a blog article that was titled "How to Use the Pandemic and COVID-19 as an opportunity to grow and to expand yourself and to love and serve others." And in writing that, it reminded me of a story that I had in my head for 20 years since a major car accident. And I had this book in my head, and I had never done anything with it. And I finally said, you know what, I'm going to write this book. And I decided to get off my butt and write the book. And I started in April and I finished in July. And it was just an awesome experience.
That's awesome. And it's crazy how, when you change your mindset, and probably going through that exercise of writing that blog, Pandemic is an Opportunity, that triggered something in your subconscious mind, something you weren't aware of, to go back to, oh my gosh, I've got this book, or I've had this book probably for 20 years, but now I'm going to take the opportunity of downtime, which we had a lot of, right, when the pandemic first hit, and write a book.
Yeah, and that's, I think it was exactly that spark. If you forgive the pun, spark. You forgive the pun of the spark. But I felt it was for me. It was, as I said, I'm a spiritual guy. I felt it was truly like a divine calling and divine inspiration, because as I was writing the book, and I got about a month and a half in, I started getting closer and closer to God, more connected spiritually. And I felt as if the story was not being written by me, as it was just flowing through me. And I was just typing. I was just the typist, and I was not the author, essentially. And I entered a place of deep introspection and spirituality. And I was having dreams and visions, and waking up at weird hours of the night, and with a flood of ideas, and, one of those creative periods that was, I had never experienced in my life. And it lasted for about a month.
Okay.
Just this crazy creative period.
And then what happened at the end of that month, right? Because people probably want to be in that state more often, where they have that they feel so aligned with their calling, and things are flowing. They're in that flow state. What do you think happened to kind of cause you to get out of that? Or was it the completion of the book and you said, hey, now I'm on to two different missions?
I think it's the latter. So when I started getting in that state, I was probably halfway done with the book chapter wise. And I had been writing about 750 or 500 to 1,000 words per day. Some days were better than others. I'd write for a few hours. When I entered that period, I was writing in excess of 2,000 words in a couple hours, and just story pouring out of me. And I finished in just a few weeks. I finished the rest of the next 8 chapters in just a few weeks, and very quick. And so I think it was twofold. I think it was, one, I completed the book, which I finished that part of the journey. But two, because I needed to move into that next phase of the journey, which was the I Spark Change phase. And that was the movement, the organization that I created soon after completing the book. And the idea for that came during that period, came during that month of creativity and spirituality. And that's where I saw this vision that I needed to create this community to help all of those that are suffering in the world, and help spread this movement of positive change, and that there is hope, and help to inspire others. And so I think, like you said, it was just shifting to that next phase. And that's where I've put my focus since the book got published in October. That's where I put my focus since then.
Okay. And explain to the audience a little bit about that movement, that I Spark Change mission, and what you're trying to accomplish, and what it looks like.
So iSpark Change is all about spreading positive change through our actions, one act at a time. It doesn't matter how big or how small. It just matters that we commit to loving and serving and giving to others in these positive ways through our actions. So it can even be someone that decides to bring their neighbor's trash cans in because they see that they've been sitting out for a day. It can be someone that decides to go to another country and do missionary work. It can be someone that contributes to a charity. It can be someone that helps to feed the homeless. It doesn't matter how big or small. It just matters that we're doing unto others with this one act at a time mentality. And this is not a new idea. All right. This has been around for thousands of years, and Scripture tells us, we should do unto others and serve others and love them as ourselves. And it's just a way to reinforce that and show people that now more than ever, we really need that community. We really need to know that we have partners in doing this, that we're not alone. People feel so isolated during this time, and they have for the past year. And I'm sharing ways that people can do things virtually, and that you don't have to go across the world to do something. You can literally do it from your own home. And just to let people know that they can do something, and just by practicing those actions, they are making a difference and are changing the world.
And I'm a firm believer that those even just small acts of kindness, right? Acts of positivity, of sending someone a voice memo over Facebook or through text that you haven't spoken to in quite some time, and just saying, hey, I just appreciate our friendship. I'm just reaching out. Hope you're okay. Sending you positivity. That can have such a profound impact on that other person. And I always think about the ripple effect and how can that continue to expand. So I'm right in line with what you're thinking. And I think so many times people overcomplicate it and think they have to do these great, grand acts of kindness or positivity. But just going through that process, if you did that every single day, imagine the impact that you could have out in the world.
Yeah, and one of the great things, Jeff, is, and I'm glad that it resonates with you, and I can tell that if you feel that way as well by the work that you're doing. But one of the ways that people are impacted so greatly is the impact that they get on themselves. And I can speak from that just personally, from all the work that I've been doing in the past few months. It may sound selfish, but I'm probably the one that's benefiting the most by anything I'm trying to do for others, because it's so incredibly rewarding and so humbling, and you get back tenfold or 100-fold what you do for others. And to use your example of calling someone, you never know what that ripple is going to be. You never know how far it's going to go, and it's like to use the river, the pond, the rock that goes across. You never know how far that's going to go and how long it's going to continue. But that doesn't really matter, because inside you get benefits that last forever. You get benefits that are ongoing and continuous, as long as you make it, like you said, a regular part of your day and of your life. And that in itself is an impact in changing the world.
So if somebody's out there struggling, right, and they're just struggling with what has gone on the past year, I think there's a large undercurrent of just mental stress that's going on, right? We all have, due to the pandemic. What's a way, or an additional way to what I just spoke about, that someone can just do this on a daily basis and not only enrich how they feel, right? Just to your point there that you were mentioning, but be that positive change for people in their network.
A couple of the things that you mentioned are beautiful ways that people can do it. One you mentioned, reaching out to someone that they haven't heard from in a long time. That definitely helps. The other that I mentioned, gratitude, expressing gratitude, not specifically for what you're grateful for in your life, but for an individual. And I like to think of it as you send love to an individual. You can pray for them, however you want to look at it, but just by sending them your gratitude, sending them your love, even if you never tell them, just by virtue of that action, they are going to reap some benefits of that. And one of my favorites is connecting with someone in a generation 1 to 2 times removed from your own.
Okay.
So this was recommended to me by a friend, and I kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I connected with someone that I hadn't seen in 15 years, who happens to be an 82-year-old retired physician in California. And I contacted him on Facebook, and he's part of the boomer generation. And I just interviewed him. I asked him about his past. I asked him about his life and his growing up and all the experiences he had and the things that he loved, the memories he has and what he enjoyed most. And I'd say that that may be the biggest highlight of my year so far, is that conversation with him, because it was so eye-opening and so gratifying. And I learned things about him that I never knew when I knew him before. He used to ice skate. He grew up in a town of less than 1,000 people, and he would do square dancing competitions in a barn. And here's a retired oncologist, and really smart and really professional. And I never knew any of these things about him. And it was just the coolest experience. And in today's world, we are so generationally separated because we have 5 generations that are all kind of a big part of society at once, are very active in society and in the workforce, and to connect with those in other generations. I actually did it with someone 2 generations younger than me as well. And that was an awesome experience. Not quite as good as connecting with Olin, just because of all of his memories, but that's one I really like. And I think if people that are watching this, if they try that, they will find that incredibly rewarding and beneficial.
Yeah, I love that one, because I think about all the stories, right, that you heard and the wisdom that he had and going through 80 years. That's just incredibly powerful. I'm definitely I took a note on that one, because that one's gonna be a good one to leverage myself. So, Rick, the iSpark Change movement, where can people find it? Where can people locate you? And I know you wanted to offer something up for the audience.
Yes, thank you for asking, Jeff. So iSpark Change, it's very easy to find. It's the letter I and then Spark Change across all social media. We have a Facebook group. That community is growing by over 800% right now. We have Instagram page. It's just, that actually has _I_Spark_Change, but it will pop up right away. Twitter is the same thing, iSpark Change. Have a YouTube channel with some videos. I'll put this one up there, of course, to share this when it's ready. And then as far as 12 Hours of Heaven, that's available on Amazon and Ingram Spark and anywhere you can find books all across the internet in Kindle and paperback versions. And the last part of your question. So a big part of what I do on a regular basis is I'm not only trying to change the world on this bigger scale, but I want to have an impact with others on a one-to-one scale, like we're having this conversation right here. And so for the past 6 years, I've done business and personal coaching. And so what I will offer to anyone that is viewing this on Facebook or LinkedIn, wherever they see it, is if they email me at rick@stratmc.com, stratmc.com. They email me there. The first 5 people that email, I will give them a complimentary coaching session with myself, an hour or 2 hours, whatever it takes. I mean, whatever they need time-wise. I never like to put a limit on those, but just want to give back and help some folks out.
Love it. Thank you, Rick, for offering that up to the audience. So definitely take advantage of that. I'll link it up in the show notes if you didn't hear the email address. Rick, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be on your show.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. Rise, fight, love, repeat. Get after it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Morning Fire for Entrepreneurs podcast. You now have the knowledge, but without action, knowledge is useless. Choose to act. Choose to step into your greatness and unlock that hero inside of you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review so more entrepreneurs can hear this message. If you absolutely love this podcast, which I hope you do, then share it up with someone you know who might see benefit from it. Become that beacon of change, and together we can impact the world.